Jealous sparks fly. Sukai clashes with another actor over Songyun Backstage. The backstage of a glittering awards night was supposed to be filled with laughter, rehearsals, and nervous excitement. But on this unforgettable evening, the tension exploded into something no one saw coming. Sukai, usually composed and charismatic, was caught in an emotional storm. At the center of it all, Songyun, and another actor who dared to get too close. The story unfolds like a thunderclap, echoing every battle Sukai and Songyun have fought to keep their love alive in the midst of relentless scrutiny. And this time, the clash wasn't whispered gossip or hidden family pressure. It was a public spectacle that left everyone breathless. The setting, backstage chaos turns explosive. The night was electric. Cameras flashed outside as celebrities strutted down the red carpet, but backstage told a different story. The buzz of microphones, the frantic shuffle of stylists, and the nervous chatter of actors awaiting their turn filled the air. Sukai was there, sleek in his tailored black suit, scanning the room every so often to find her. Then he saw her, Songyun. Radiant in an elegant pastel gown, her smile could have lit up the entire stage. But what made Sukai's jaw tighten wasn't her beauty, it was the man standing far too close to her. The other actor, a rising star with sharp features and a playful charm, leaned in as he adjusted something on her gown. His hand brushed a little too long against her arm. His laugh echoed a little too loudly. And for Sukai, the sight was gasoline on a fire he had been struggling to control. The spark, Sukai steps in. Witnesses described it like lightning, sudden, powerful, impossible to ignore. Sukai moved across the room with long strides, his eyes fixed only on Songyun and the actor by her side. The air shifted. Even those who didn't know what was happening felt the energy change. Is everything all right here? Sukai's voice was sharp, cutting through the backstage noise like a blade. The actor, caught off guard, raised his brows but didn't step back. Just helping Songyun with her gown. Nothing serious. But Sukai wasn't buying it. He stepped closer, his tall frame casting a shadow over the scene. She doesn't need your help, he shot back, his words dipped in ice. Gasps rippled through the room. Stylists froze mid-step. A makeup artist dropped her brush. The tension wasn't just visible, it was suffocating. Songyun caught in the middle. Songyun's eyes widened as she looked between the two men. She knew Sukai's temper when it came to her, and though part of her heart melted at his protectiveness, another part panicked at the very public scene. Sukai, she whispered, reaching for his arm, trying to ground him. Please, it's nothing. But her soft plea only fueled him further. To Sukai, her attempt to downplay it felt like a wound, like she was protecting the actor instead of him. You call this nothing? Sukai's voice cracked with restrained fury. He has no right to touch you like that. The clash, words turned heated. The actor, unwilling to back down, crossed his arms. You're overreacting. Songyun's a professional. Maybe you should learn to trust her more instead of creating a scene. That was it. The final straw. Sukai lunged a step closer, his face inches from the actor's, his voice low and dangerous. Trust isn't the problem. Disrespect is. And you crossed the line. The actor smirked, but behind his eyes was unease. No one dared to move. The entire backstage had transformed into a silent arena, every eye glued to the confrontation. The breaking point. Songyun finally stepped between them, her heart racing as she pushed gently at Sukai's chest. Enough, both of you. Her voice trembled with urgency. But Sukai's eyes never left the actor. It was as if he were daring him to try something again, daring him to test the boundaries one more time. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the actor raised his hands in mock surrender. Fine. I'll back off. But maybe next time, Sukai, remember, it's her choice who she lets close, not yours. The words struck like knives. Sukai's fists clenched, his jaw locked. It took every ounce of willpower not to retaliate. But for Songyun's sake, he turned away, his chest heaving with unspoken rage. The aftermath, a shaken Songyun. Back in the dressing room, Songyun sat in front of the mirror, her hands trembling. Sukai stood behind her, still bristling, his reflection stormy in the glass. Why did you do that? She whispered, her voice breaking. Do you know how many people saw? How many rumors will start now? Sukai's shoulders slumped. The anger in his eyes dimmed, replaced by vulnerability. He knelt beside her, taking her hands into his. I don't care about the rumors, he said softly, his voice raw. I can't stand anyone treating you like you're not precious. Because to me, you're everything. Tears welled in Tan Songyun's eyes. For a moment, her frustration melted into something deeper, something aching and tender. She touched his cheek gently, her own heart torn between the chaos he caused and the love that fueled it. A scene no one will forget. Outside, whispers spread like wildfire. Backstage assistants texted friends. Stylists exchanged wide-eyed glances. Everyone knew they had witnessed a moment that would explode in the media within hours. But for Sukai and Tan Songyun, the world outside didn't matter in that instant. All that mattered was the trembling silence between them, the fragile, unspoken truth that their love, while fiery, was also unbearably heavy. The media storm. By morning, headlines screamed across every platform. Sukai loses cool backstage over Tan Songyun. Jealous clash, rising actor caught in Sukai's wrath. Tan Songyun in tears as Sukai defends her publicly. Clips of the confrontation circulated online, fans divided in their opinions. Some called Sukai's behavior reckless, others romantic. Some criticized his jealousy, others praised his devotion. But one thing was clear, this wasn't just another celebrity spat. It was another chapter in the never-ending saga of Sukai and Tan Songyun, a love story too intense to stay hidden, too passionate to fade quietly. A love tested again. Later that evening, Sukai posted a simple message online. When you love someone with your whole heart, you protect them, even if the world misunderstands you. It sparked another wave of frenzy, but Tan Songyun's silence spoke volumes. Was she upset? Was she touched? Or was she torn between the man who loved her too much and the world that judged him for it? What no one saw that night was the way Sukai held her hand tightly as they left the venue, silently promising her that no matter the storms, he would never let go. The air in the backstage hall was still thick with the echo of Sukai's voice. The confrontation had ended minutes ago, yet no one moved freely. Whispers darted like sparks, and every glance was heavy with the weight of what had just unfolded. For Sukai and Tan Songyun, however, the night had only just begun. Sukai's fury still unleashed. Sukai paced the narrow dressing room, his tall figure restless against the walls painted in glowing vanity lights. His clenched fists betrayed the storm he was trying to bottle up. He touched you like he had the right, Sukai muttered, his voice low but sharp, like glass about to shatter. His eyes flicked toward Tan Songyun, who sat on the velvet chair by the mirror. Songyun, still shaken, tried to remain calm. Kai, you can't keep doing this. People were watching. It will spread everywhere. Her words were logical, but Sukai's heart didn't hear logic. His heartbeat was still pounding from the sight of that actor leaning too close, daring to touch her gown as if she belonged to anyone else. Let them talk, Sukai shot back, his tone heavy. What matters is that he knows his place. I won't let anyone disrespect you. Tan Songyun's silent conflict. Tan Songyun lowered her gaze, her reflection shimmering in the mirror's lights. A part of her was deeply touched by Sukai's fierce defense. What woman wouldn't be moved by a man willing to risk his reputation just to protect her dignity? Yet another part of her was trembling. She knew the industry. She knew how merciless headlines could twist a single incident. Tonight's clash would become tomorrow's firestorm. She whispered softly, almost to herself, sometimes love feels heavier than I can carry. But Sukai heard her. He froze, his eyes softening, the anger on his face replaced by pain. Heavier? Songyun, do you regret us? Her silence spoke louder than any answer. The actor's smirk. While Sukai battled with emotions in the dressing room, the other actor was far from shaken. Outside, leaning against a backstage wall, he scrolled through his phone as assistants buzzed around him nervously. A smirk played on his lips. Looks like Sukai's not as composed as everyone thinks, he muttered to a crew member, who quickly pretended not to hear. The actor knew the scene would spread online soon. And in this industry, scandal was as good as free publicity. Yet beneath his smug exterior, his pride had been bruised. Sukai's words had cut deep, and though he'd surrendered in the moment, the embers of rivalry were now burning. Backstage reactions. Around the corridors, crew members whispered urgently. Did you see the way Sukai almost lunged at him? Tan Songyun was crying, she looked so torn. This is going to blow up the internet by morning. Phones buzzed with secret recordings. By the time the awards show wrapped up, several clips of the confrontation had already leaked online, grainy but unmistakable. Sukai's towering frame, his protective fury, and the unmistakable crack in Tan Songyun's voice as she tried to stop him. Sukai's vulnerable confession. Back in the quiet of the dressing room, Sukai finally sat beside Tan Songyun. His chest was still rising and falling with uneven breaths, but his voice softened. Songyun, he began, his throat tightening. I don't care if they call me jealous. I don't care if they say I overreacted. All I know is when I saw him close to you, laughing like he knew you, something inside me broke. I can't stand the thought of losing you, not to him, not to anyone. Tears welled in her eyes. Sukai rarely exposed himself this raw. His career had taught him to hide emotions, to smile in public, to act untouchable. But with her, every wall crumbled. She reached for his hand, her fingers trembling. Kai, I've never wanted anyone else. But if you keep fighting like this, the world will tear us apart. Her voice cracked on the last word, and Sukai felt his heart sink. For the first time, he realized that his protectiveness, though born of love, could also be the very thing that endangered them. The awards go on, but their world pauses. When their names were eventually called to step on stage, Sukai and Tan Songyun walked hand in hand, masks of composure on their faces. To the audience, they looked like a picture-perfect couple, radiant under the golden lights. But those who had been backstage knew the truth. The storm had not passed. It was merely hidden beneath practiced smiles. The applause was deafening, but Sukai's mind wasn't on the stage. It replayed the moment again and again, the actor's smirk, the way his hand brushed against Songyun's arm, the sting of her words about love being heavy. Online explosion. As predicted, by midnight, every social media platform was ablaze. Hashtags trended worldwide. Hashtag Sukai jealous outburst. Hashtag Tan Songyun in tears. Hashtag backstage battle. Clips were slowed down, replayed, analyzed. Fans argued in heated threads. Sukai's protecting her, what's wrong with that? One wrote. He embarrassed her in public. That's not love, that's control, another countered. Did anyone notice how close that actor was? Sukai had every right to react. The industry insiders watched closely, knowing this was no ordinary spat. It was a clash that could define reputations, careers, and relationships for years. A late-night car ride. After the event, Sukai and Tan Songyun slipped into the backseat of a sleek black car. The city lights blurred past, but inside the vehicle, silence pressed down heavier than steel. Finally, Sukai spoke, his voice hoarse. I'm sorry if I made things harder for you tonight. Songyun turned to him, her eyes glistening. You didn't make it harder. You made it real. But Kai, we can't fight everyone. Sometimes, love means knowing when to hold back. He looked at her, his hand reaching for hers in the dark. For the first time that night, she didn't pull away. Their fingers intertwined, fragile but firm, as if promising that despite the chaos, they would still walk forward together.